This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Last week at the fast confines at Le Mans, we saw one of the most memorable races in the history of this series. Mick Cledge winning the race in France marks the first driver to win 2 races this season. As we end the first third of this campaign, the question is all about Mick Cledge and if he can make it 3 in a row. However, the guys behind him are now even hungrier than ever, so an exciting race lays in front of us. With all that, a big welcome and bonjour from Spa-Francorchamps with the Grand Prix legends live here on the Global SimRacing Channel via the iRacing eSports Network. The crew to give you all these stats and storylines today will be Ryan Walker, joining myself, Stefan Schlacher. Turning the knobs and pushing the buttons behind the scenes, our director Sean Rex Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. The legendary track of Spa normally doesn't need an introduction anymore. However, if you're new to road racing or just need a refresher on how Spa feels to drive, we got you covered as we're now going to send you trackside with GSRC's own track guide.
Alright, we're in the GSRC Lotus 49, so let's do a lap around Spa. Across the start-finish line, you're immediately faced with Eau Rouge. A fair bit of braking at the bottom will set you up to wind over Radillon. The car gets very light, and getting on the power is extremely difficult here. And since it takes you onto the Kimmel Straight, it's extra important to find traction as soon as it's available. Every 1/10 of a second sooner you can accelerate, the more top end you're going to find by the time you hit the braking zone for Lecombe. And this chicane will be very popular for overtakes. The downside will be it's easy to come in way too hot, and it won't be uncommon to see drivers cut across the grass to Malmedy. That puts us at the highest point on the track, and so back downhill we go. Because the elevation drops so drastically, you'll brake early for this 180-degree bend. Understeer around here will be a frequent problem. Switch sides quickly because you've got to hit no-name corner. There is AstroTurf around the outside, but it doesn't quite offer as much grip and isn't ideal. You can see the valley with the start-finish line off in the distance, but before you know it, you're braking for Pouan. I find snap oversteer is something that happens a lot on entry, but it's also difficult gauging how soon and how much you can get back on the power through this second apex. Lap time can be gained if you can unlock its secrets. It's kind of a short burst of Fandies, which can be frustrating in the 49. It always feels like you're compromising one apex or the other and never truly nailing this right-left. Then there's Stavelot. Expect a lot of dirt and dust kicked up when drivers push it that little bit too hard and dip their wheels into the gravel on the left. On the second apex, you've got to really nail the launch off the bend. It doesn't help that the track gently curves while you're accelerating out of it, meaning you'll find yourself countersteering even in 4th gear. Now, while most cars are easily flat out through this left turn, in the Lotus you've got to lift just a little bit to make it through. Then stab the brakes and swing it into Blanchimont. Getting your right foot down quickly will be critical, but also get the car set up for the bus stop. Let it drift off to the left while you throw out the anchor and slow it down. This fiddly little chicane will produce a lot of missed apexes when drivers fly in way too hot. And it's going to be tough finding grip when you exit in the lower gears, meaning many might spin out as they get greedy. The final corner will be La Source and offers a last-ditch opportunity to overtake. Just be careful and watch out for the savvy drivers who can pull an over-under on you and snatch that place right back. What's great for viewers is that creates some thrilling finishes. But as we cross the line, we've now finished a lap around Spa.
Joe Peak doing what many tried, but nobody can do better than him. That's your lap guide. And Ryan, what else can you tell us about this track in the French Forest?
So some of the details about the track, about this wonderful track as well, I should say. 4.35 miles in length, or 7.004 kilometres, depending on whatever you want to use. has an amazing 19 turns, 9 right-handers and 10 left-handers. Located in Spa-Francorchamps, close to Stavelot in Belgium. And there's some other facts about the track as well, especially with the Lotus 49. The lack of grip in this car is going to make it a challenge, especially just looking at the track temperature as well. It seems to be getting a bit warmer, so yeah, these drivers are going to be fighting this car quite a lot throughout this race, and it should make it quite interesting.
Yeah, not only fighting the track, the car, but also each other, and that will be written down in the F1 Drivers' Championship, which we're now going to look at. Roman Pawlowski leading that one still after 3 races, but just 6 points ahead of Mick Kledge, who, as we mentioned, did win the last 2 races. 3 points behind him, that's Rob Olenek in 3rd place, and then a little bit of a drop down to Daniel Sadler in 4th place, 25 points behind, and then another 10 points back. It's Ove Trengrate, a seasoned veteran of not only this car, but many other historic cars on iRacing. So this still is very close in the top 3. Ryan, how are we looking for the F2 Championship?
So in the F2 Championship, it's as follows. Antonio Rees currently leads with 59 points. Close behind him in 2nd place is Matt Yeomans with 54 points, so the difference between both of them at the top is not that big. Behind them in 3rd place is Bill Tyler with 45 points. Close behind him with 41 points is Colin Coker in 4th. 5th place is Andres Bruno on 34 points. So in the F2 Championship so far this season, it's still close and all to play for.
Yeah, close as ever, those F2 championships. And now, as they did in the back days of Formula 1, we also have a Nations Cup in here. They didn't put up at the team standings, but a Nations standing. So with that, Germany is leading right now with 130 points to their name. United States, 2nd place, 3 points behind. There we go, United Kingdom, they're 3rd place, 6 points behind. Then we have Norway in 4th and Portugal in 5th place down there. Portugal only scored 2 races out of 3, same with Norway. So those two right now, 4th and 5th with only 2 races counted towards them. Now I also have to say a little bit of an apologies because I said French Forest instead of Ardennes Forest. Hopefully I didn't trigger too many people there. But talking about triggering, Ryan, how are we looking for the race details?
So this is round 4 of 12, I should say. The race length for this race will be 15 laps, and the setup will be open. So any changes you want to make to this car, you're free to do so. Considering it's an old car, there's still quite a lot in this car that you can change. So yeah, whatever you want to change, you feel free to go for it. And the incident limit for this race will be a 17x. If will be a penalty. If you get to 25x, you will be automatically disqualified. So yeah, some drivers are going to have to be very careful and maybe be careful in the early stages of this race.
Yeah, have to be careful about triggering those off tracks all over this track. As we all know, it's very easy to get on the wrong side of the incident limit. Now, as always, though, a quick reminder that you're watching this broadcast live on the iRacing Esports Network. Make sure to like and especially subscribe if you haven't done so yet. You'll know if you haven't, as that button will still be bright red. Right now you can see in the background that qualifying is already going on. About 6 minutes have elapsed already. Mick Kledge right now your first place driver ahead of Roman Pawlowski and Michel Didignon. Daniel Sadler, Rob Olenek, your back end of the top 5 right now.
Yeah, there's some drivers in the field that I recognise from some other leagues. You've got Dan Sadler, like you mentioned, Stefan. Also, you've got I think we've got Jim McGill in this race. So there's quite a few drivers from a few other leagues, or some drivers that you wouldn't normally see in this race. So yeah, it might be worth keeping an eye on them to see how they get on.
And Ryan, now we have a little bit of a message from the Grand Prix Legends community. And they would like to kindly ask you guys, the Lotus 49 fans, for a donation into their broadcast fund. If you'd like to find out more about these donations or their broadcast fund, please have a look into the description of this broadcast. Every dollar counts. The Lotus 49 community thanks you. And we're looking right now. Daniel Sadler, one also of the seasoned veterans of this series, as he has finished his second lap now of qualifying. It was a fast lap for him, but it did give him a faster lap, not an improvement in position. So he's still in 4th place as Peter Mikus comes across the start-finish line in just a corner. He didn't count his first lap. Let's see what he can do on his second and final lap as he's about to cross the start-finish line. Under the total sign he goes, and that's a 2:17.58, which puts him into 8th place.
Yeah, that was a... Oh, sorry, Steph.
Sorry, yeah, Claridge seems like had an off-track on his second lap, so he's not doing anything with that one. As Troy Adams right now in last place because he didn't get to finish his qualifying lap because time is already over. So with that, Mick Claridge has won qualifying ahead of Michel Dudignon. Only a 100th of a second between those two in the first row. Then we have Roman Pawlowski in 3rd place, 2/10 behind Mick Claridge, so very close. Same for Daniel Sadler, very close also there. It only looks like that though because he's a 4-second behind Roman Pawlowski in 4th place. Rob Olenek, 5th place for him, alongside Billy Bob Wright in that 3rd row. Dave Price, 7th place goes to him. Peter Mikus, 8th place. Running out your top 10 are going to be Bill Tyler and Antonio Rees.
Yep, and then, going through the rest of the grid, Michael Cook takes 11th place. 12th place is Colin Bentley. 13th place is Andrew Eng. 14th is Chris Murakami. And then 15th place is Osmir Schultz, and then 16th, Severin Ustaveld, and then 17th is Matt Yeomans, 18th is Telmo Amaral, 19th is Andreas Bruno, and rounding out the top 20 is Colin Coker.
21st, Jim McGill. He is in his 12th car, most definitely looking to up his position. Donald Peak! Yes, that is one of the 2 peaks we have here on GSRC. 22nd, Jan Hoffman, 23rd, Jasmine Beach, 24th, Gary Anderson, the last car to put in a qualifying lap in 25th. Then we have Laurent Ravgon in 27th, Julia Forcelin in 28th, Marco Raviol in 29th, 30th went to Trent Busse, Chris Bean, 31st, Robert Reynolds in 32nd, and Troy Adams, 33rd. As we're already green flag for this race. Very good start at the front pack, especially for Mick Claridge, who was able to defend his position ahead of Michel Dudignon, who is already up in 2nd place and looking for the draft behind Mick Claridge.
As everyone's managed to make it through Oruz and Radion okay so far, as everyone's coming up trying to settle into position, but...
Oh, Michel Dudignon! Woo! Both sliding there, sorry Ryan, Mick Claridge and Michel Dudignon were trying to go for that first place, both are nearly sliding into each other. Roman Pawlowski now in 3rd place, Rob Olenek and Daniel Sadler still 4th and 5th.
Yep, I'm just looking throughout the field to see if there's if everyone else managed to make it through so far, nice and clean. No casualties at the back apparently.
Telmo Amaral and Troy Adams were those 2 casualties that we can confirm already. They both had to retire their Lotus 49s very early in this race.
Yeah, I thought everyone was going to try and settle down, but yeah, looking at the back, everyone's managed not to do that, or some people are having issues already. But yeah, back up at the front, it's still Claridge from Dudillon, from Pawlowski. So yeah, still everyone at the front is close together.
Adrian Duke, Gary Anderson, and Jan Hoffman also in the line of casualties. Now Jasmine Beach with Marco Ravioli. They two come together through Piff Path. So also not a very good start for those two. Seems like a little bit of a misunderstanding between those two. We're still looking at the front of this pack. Mick Claridge still ahead of Michel Dudignon and Roman Pawlowski. Rob Olenek 4th place, Daniel Sadler 5th place as they head into the bus stop chicane for the very first time.
Just looking throughout the field as well, and it looks like even though he's at the back, Jim McGill's had a decent start and he's just keeping out of trouble, just doing his own thing. Up or I think he was upper position, but apparently GRT's playing up, so he's still in P21, but he's managed to survive the first lap. So yeah, a decent job in the first lap by Jim McGill.
Only Rob Olenek and Antonio Rees are the only two drivers that have gained a position inside the top 10. As now Peter Mikus tries to one-up his position over David Price. They're looking for a swap of position. Same with at the front, Michel Tedignon and Vicky Claridge now side by side into Lecombe. But Michel Tedignon not able to take advantage of his outside line. So they're in behind David Price and Peter Mikus side by side. Also Peter Mikus around the outside. Not happening for him through Lecombe.
Just looking at Antonio Roos as well, and he's currently he did start in P10. He's up into P9, so he's doing a good job at the moment so far, and keeping out of trouble as well. And currently he's the leader in the F2 Championship, so he needs to think ahead. Does he want to attack early, or does he just want to play it safe and just finish this race and pick up more points to help in the F2 Championship? So yeah, difficult decision for Antonio to make.
In behind, we have a little bit of a battle pack for 11th position. It's about 4 cars nose to tail there, and really going off it as well. Chris Murakami inside that battle pack alongside Colin Bentley, Andrew Eng, and leading those 3 right now is Bill Tyler. As they go through Paul Ferrer now for the second time, we can also report that a few more people have seen the end of their race. Julie Forcelin are one of those guys. So already after just about 1.5 laps for these guys, we have seen a few casualties taking place here at Spa-Francorchamps. Oh, Chris Murakami goes on the grass there, saves it. Doesn't run into Bill Tyler, but that's a major slowdown for him probably now. Or looks like he was able to avoid that, so he still goes on full speed, but most definitely he lost a lot of time to Bill Tyler. Colin Bentley now tries to go to the inside of La Source. Can he get the power down early? No, he cannot, as Chris Murakami powers away from him to defend that 4th position.
I just looked at the replay as well of Chris Murakami, and he done a good job to save that car after clipping the grass into the final chicane. I thought he was going to wipe a few cars out, but he done a good job to hold that car, so fair play to him. And he's still...
Oh, Billy Bob Wright! Hard impact into the wall at Lecoupe. That's his race done. And he also nearly got collected by Dave Price and Peter Mikus, who were side by side behind him. Everyone did a great job being able to avoid him. And yeah, Ryan, it seems like Billy Bob Wright a little bit overbraking there.
Just look at the replay to see what happened to Billy on the break, and it just looks like he just braked and it just snapped on him, so it could have been just a case.
I'm sorry, just now Chris Murakami also at Lecoupe, big troubles for him. Colin Bentley involved in that, Andrew Eng and a few other cars. That really didn't go well for them either. Let's see what happened there. We just caught the end of that, so let's see. It also happened into Lecoupe. And yeah, seems like Colin Bentley, the real cause of all of that trouble. Just ever so slightly tire-to-tire contact there between Colin Bentley and Chris Murakami. And it really seems that Chris Murakami with a lot of damage there from that spin. Also Donald Peak with a mistake through Paul Ferrer, just a harmless spin for him, so he's able to continue. As we're back at the top of the pack, still Mikhail leading ahead of Michel Tedignon and Roslowski. Those 3 have set sails. It seems like a little bit on Rob Olenek as they are looking to complete a lap number.
Yep, still up at the front is Claridge, Dunion, Pavlowski, and close behind them, like you say, Olenek behind them in 4th. So yeah, it looks like the top 4 are managing to pull away slowly from the rest of the pack behind them. So it could be just a 4-way fight for the win. But as Claridge tries to break the slipstream from De Leon behind him, but manages to hold the position as they head into the corner.
Yeah, seems like the Drobolnik had a little bit of a bad qualifying lap at 2:16. Most definitely not representative of how he is able to drive, as he is able to somewhat cling on to those three up ahead. But most definitely Daniel Sandro, he's doing high 16, so he is not going to be very much in the fight of the four guys ahead of him. But he's also losing the guys behind him now. 3 seconds the gap back to Dave Price in 6th place.
As I'm just looking throughout the field as well, I think at the moment in the F2, I guess you could say F2 class, it's Reese leading from Matt Yeomans, I believe. So Antonio's doing what he needs to do for the F2 championship. And I'm looking at Daniel Sadra as well on his front end. He's got a little bit of a slight bit of damage, so I don't know if he's had contact in the first lap or in the early stage of the race, but he's in a bit of a no man's land at the moment. So it's just, I guess he just needs to go around doing laps and just finish the race. But I don't know what happened to Daniel to get that slight damage on the front.
And one thing we have seen now on the broadcast here, Michel Dudignon, most definitely way stronger through the curvy bit of Spa-Francorchamps than Mickey Clash ahead of him. So Mickey seems to be a little bit more on the straight line setup than Michel Dudignon. So Michel Dudignon probably will try to have a look this time. Maybe not into Lecumbe, just stay behind him and stay closer, but then really try to do something either into Brussels or into Buhan, because those are the spots where he really is a lot faster than your first place driver of Mickey Clash. As they cross the start-finish line for another time, starting lap 5 now. So only 11 laps left in this motor race. Michel Dudignon with a little bit of a mistake now through Ryder Leon, which does cost him a little bit of momentum. Obviously with the slipstream he's able to get back closer again to Mickey Clash, but that has slimmed his chances a little bit going now into Lecumbe. And that's a big mistake for Michel Dudignon. He goes straight on, takes the access road here. But that is going to be quite a slowdown for him, as he also goes down for Roman Pavlovsky, and he loses it! We're gonna show you that all in the replay as Michel Dudignon lost it, coming back onto the track. And Ryan, that is just a little bit too late on the brakes for Michel on Michael there.
Yeah, just watching the replays to see what happened, and it looks like Michel might have just carried too much speed possibly, or just pressed the brake too hard and it just made the rear end snap. But he had to run wide and take avoiding action, and then tried to rejoin the track. He didn't do anything silly, I believe, but he just the curb, he just spun the wheels up on the curb and it just spun him round, and he was just a passenger.
Yeah, was able to avoid the barrier, so he's still continuing right now, sitting in 5th place behind Daniel Sandro. So I would nearly go and say that the win is out of question now for Michel Dudignon. Probably top 3 is going to be the best result he can salvage from a... As we're gonna take a look back into P8. That is going between Michael Cook and Antonio Rees. Let's see what the number 14 driver can do behind the number 10. Also, the battle for 6th place is very hot still between Dave Price and Peter Mikus. So 2 battles inside the top 10, extremely hot right now, as we're still focusing on Antonio Rees on board with him, just below his right side.
There's a good battle between these two guys. There's still plenty of racing going on throughout the field as well, in the mid-pack, towards the rear of the pack, and it's proven once again why I love commentating on this series. It's close racing wherever you look. Just proved here they like this battle with Antonio Rees and Michael Cook.
That was a good run for Peter Mikus. Now over Dave Price. He goes to the left side because Dave Price was on the far right side on the exit curb of Radillon. Peter Mikus with a lot more head of steam there into Lecumbe. Let's see if he's able to overtake him, as Michel Dudignon has a bit of a problem on the brakes into Lecumbe. So Peter Mikus makes up a position, as that was Michel Dudignon stopped on the grass there. but he's not able to get past Dave Price yet again.
Just watching Michel Dudillon as well. It seems to be the case, what happened at Le Mans last week. He started off so well, and then he just started making some silly mistakes, I should say, and he just seemed a bit rattled. And I don't know if he's getting the same thing again after making that mistake. Maybe just rattled, lost his focus, and he's just trying too hard. But yeah, I'm not used to. I don't think both of us are used to seeing Michel making these sort of mistakes.
Pretty much any mistakes is not a common thing for Michel Dudillon. We have to say, if you haven't watched last week, this is the second week in a row where Michel Dudillon continues to have big struggles on the brakes. So Michel, I don't know what has happened to him, or maybe just a little bit of a wrong tweak in all of his setups in Le Mans and now also in Spa, but that French-speaking turf, not really the best right now for the Frenchman.
As just looking back up at the front as well, currently Mick Claridge is still in the lead from Pawlowski behind him. So these guys are still close together in the fight for the lead, but not far behind those guys either is Rob Olenek. So if these two guys up at the front get caught up with each other, Rob could be there to pick up the pieces.
Dave Price is still defending from Peter Mikus. Mikus tried to get a better run out of the bus stop chicane, but was not able to. Now obviously also Michel Dudillon enters that battle for now 5th place between those two. So let's see what Michel Dudillon can do. He's obviously way faster than those two by about a full second a lap, but unless he cannot stop making his mistakes, he will not be very much in this fight. As now up ahead, you can see that from Michel Dudillon's onboard. Peter Mikus and Dave Price are once again side by side, with Peter Mikus to the left side of the Michel Dudillon behind this lift on the throttle. And once again, Peter Mikus not able to do anything around the outside of the first part of Lecombe and nearly loses it over the grass there on the inside. Has to be careful. iRacing did turn down the grip outside the track limits.
Absolutely, as we've seen with Michel a couple of laps ago on that AstroTurf, when he rejoined the track, he tried to get back in the power, and the rear wheels just spun up, and it's like you.
I'm sorry, Ryan. I just noticed that Mick Claridge and Pawlowski have changed a lead. So Roman Pawlowski now in the lead ahead of Mick Claridge. We have to replay of that, so let's have a look at what happened there between Claridge and Pawlowski. Seems to have happened down Campbell Straight, as there was a little bit of a mistake for Mick Claridge through Radillon. And yeah, Roman Pawlowski just able to jump on that occasion and overtake Mick Claridge for the first place.
As I'm just looking throughout the field to see if there's anything else going on, I can't really see anything.
Oh, Peter Mikus with a save that opens up the door a little bit for Michel Dudillon. Not able to jump on that occasion, as he also had a little bit of a slide himself. But yeah, Dave Price still holding over that pressure. But how long can he vent off that pressure until someone is able to get past him? It's a good question, and that question might never be answered if Dave Price can hold the pressure behind. But Peter Mikus and Michel Dudillon looking very racing for that 5th place. Obviously also Daniel Sandro not too far away from these guys, as he has turned slow laps the last 3 laps than Dave Price. Oh, Michel Dudillon behind. Big mistake through Radillon, able to save it with a lot of counter steering up ahead. As we go into replay, let's have a look on what happened with Michel Dudillon. We have to stay on that replay though, because Peter Mikus and Dave Price up ahead are now side by side through Lecombe. And yeah, just a great save by Michel Dudillon over the crest of Radillon. He had just too much troubles to stay right behind them, as they're still side by side there through Lecombe, and continue to be side by side all the way through Brussels. Peter Mikus though not able to jump on that occasion yet again. Dave Price, the successor in that battle.
This is fantastic stuff. I'm loving this. It's a great battle with two of these guys. They're giving each other respect. They're giving each other room. They're racing hard, but they're racing fair. And it's great to see, and it's just proof that this series is so good. And
Peter! Oh. Whoa, Peter Mikus, what a save! Snap oversteer for him through Piff Path. And now under attack from Michel Tedinho. Michel Tedinho with the inside through Stavelot, and he's able to take that away through Curve Paul Ferrer. Or is he? As now Peter Mikus comes back on him through the first right, sorry, through the second right-hander. No, has the outside through the left-hander right before Blanchimont runs a little bit off track, gives the momentum to Michel Tedinho through Blanchimont. So Michel Tedinho now is really into 6th place.
yeah, I was watching the.
Oh, Michel, keep it together on the brakes, mate. This is starting to really be a little bit too much for Michel Tedinho with all these mistakes. Up ahead, the battle for first place is still very hotly contended as Roman Paslavsky had a slowdown there through through Radillon, as he took too much of the inside curb. That also means Rob Olenek is able to get past him, so Rob Olenek now into 2nd place, Mick Kalaj into 1st place with a small little mistake for Roman Paslavsky.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Paslowski. He might have got he got a slowdown, I believe, and it looks like he might have just took too much curb through Eau Rouge and Radion. So, yeah, that was unfortunate, but it gave Mick a chance to pounce and take the lead, and also Rob a chance to take 2nd place. So this race is far from over.
Every battle is starting to really kick up in heat right now, and this is why we love the Grand Prix Legends Series. One of those battles is the battle for 14th place. Actually, I would nearly say it's up for 13th place, because Severin Osterveld leading that one ahead of Colin Coker, Colin Bentley, Osmar Schultz, Andres Bruno also in that. So in total, that's a 5-car train for that 13th place position.
Fantastic battle between these guys in the mid pack. Yeah, it's I believe this is for a top 3 position in the F2 the F2 class. So fantastic racing between these guys, and yeah, wherever you look, there's always a battle going on. So this is fantastic stuff.
In total, we are sad to say that we have lost so far 8 drivers during these 9 laps that we have driven so far. Julia Forcelin, Lauren Raffigo, Chris Bean, Chris Murakami, Billy Bob Wright, Gary Anderson, Talmo Amaral, Jan Hoffman, Adrian Duke, and Troy Adams are in that 8 drivers list. Sadly, those drivers are already 4 laps down, so at the minimum. So all of these have happened. Their race ended very early, as it seems that we have once again a battle between Michel Tedinho and Dave Price. This still is for 5th place, right behind Daniel Sadro, who has found his lap times again, running away from these guys again, as Dave Price with a little bit of a slow exit out of Radillon, which opens up the door for Michel Tedinho, tries to go with the fake, makes it happen. He's now on the inside for Lecumbe. Can he also keep it together on the brakes? Yes, he can. He did brake a little bit earlier, so he doesn't do anything stupid with Dave Price on the outside of him. And he's able to get past Dave Price, but now also Peter Mikus with an open door for Dave Price. Decides better of it though, as Dave Price goes to the inside and goes on the defensive line.
That was a nice move by Michel Tedinho. He managed to get that move done on the run up to the straight. The run up the straight, I should say. Managed to get the move done, pull it off, and yeah, he's slowly pulling away from these guys behind and leaving them to battle amongst themselves. But this is still a fantastic battle between Dave Price and Peter Mikus.
The 2 guys are back again. Peter Mikus, Dave Price have battled very long for that 6th place. Once again, they're back at fighting for that 6th place. I don't know if Peter Mikus will get past at one point, because he has tried so many times already that we have seen, and still he sits behind Dave. And once again a little bit of a bad run through Ferrer, but that's not going to help him very much with these high-speed bends. The Lotus 49 is not very keen on taking, as Michel Tedinho up ahead of them runs very wide, has a little bit of a wiggle coming back onto the track, but stays still ahead of them as Dave Price still able to defend his 6th place through the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, if I was Peter sitting behind Dave, I'm not sure what I would do. Maybe wait until the last lap or the last couple of laps to make a move. Maybe just sit behind and plan out what you're going to do. It's something I always do. And other cars like the Spec Racer Ford or Skip Barber is try and time my move towards the end of a race. And if I feel I can pull off a move in the last lap, then I wait and pounce. But I'm not sure what to do. What would you do, Stefan, if you were in Peter's shoes?
Well, Michel Tedinho showed how you can get past Dave Price. Peter Mikus not trying the switcheroo on that, so he is nearly right into the back of Dave Price. There's Dave really slowed down on the apex, on the first apex of Lecumbe. Peter Mikus not really expecting that, tries to get around out of Lecumbe, doesn't really, as he gets a wiggle on the throttle and on the brake. So Dave Price doing all he can to keep Peter Mikus behind, who's trying all that he can to get ahead of Dave Price, but it just ain't happening right now for Peter.
As I'm just looking at the battle for P14, it's still going on between Seven Osterveld, Colin Coker, Colin Bentley, and the other car, I believe, is Osmir Schutz. These guys are still close together, but it's a 3-car battle, sorry. Osterveld, Coker, and Bentley.
Bentley there with the little bit of jump on the brakes behind Coker, as he did not want to overtake him. In behind, Andres Bruno was able to get past Osmar Schultz because of a mistake of Osmar Schultz. Nothing we really need to go on to replay for. Just a little bit of overbraking into Brussels there. We've all done it, we've all seen it happening right in front of our eyes. Colin Bentley now with a good run out of Couhon, or Double Gouche as it's actually named in the French language. Basically just means a double left-hander. Colin Bentley not a very good run pit path, as he still has to sit behind the other Colin. In the meantime, Mick College still is leading your moat race at Spa-Francorchamps already on lap 12 of this one, so only 4 laps to go for him, as he's now coming up to Robert Reynolds to lap him. Perfect, going out of the way for both drivers. Also Rob Olenek able to get past him. For 5th place, we have a change in position though. Michel Tedinho already side by side with Daniel Sadro, who is not able to defend his position down into Lecumbe. So Michel Tedinho still continues on his recovery track.
Just watching the replay of the move by Dudion on Sadro. That was a good run on Sadro, and I think with Sadro having that damage on the front, it's hindering his straight line speed. As we've got a replay on screen right now.
Yeah, just a much better run for Michel Tedinho already through Radillon. So Daniel Santro really not looking all too strong even through the turns. And as you said, that damage probably doesn't help him either. Michel Tedinho makes the run happen through Lecumbe, and he's already about 7/10 ahead of Daniel Santro. But Michel Tedinho not without problems himself, as he once again goes very sideways through Hef Path and now also through Lap Corner. Up in front for the battle for first place. It still isn't yet a battle, but we can most definitely say that Rob Olenek right now has the upper hand pace-wise on Mick College, with Mick College starting to have a few mistakes here and there. Now he won't head through the bus stop, just completely missing on that first apex. So yeah, Mick Cledge, even though he's leading right now, he has won the last 2 races. It still isn't a done deal for him, as we're now entering with 3 laps to go. Lap 13 of this motor race, 8/10 between those two. So let's see and continue to watch what Rob Olenek can do. Half a second faster for Rob Olenek than his championship rival of Mick Cledge, as they come up to another lap car. It is Laurent Raffgon. So Raffgon able to continue on his drive. 4 laps down, he is in 25th place. So we have one car returning to the track after already seeming to be retired.
His backup still at the front. Mick Claridge is still leading, but close behind him is Rob Olenek. And yeah, at one point Mick was 1.3 seconds clear at the front, but Rob has managed to decrease that gap and close it down to about 6 or 7 tenths of a second. So yeah, we could be on for a close finish to this race. And if I was to pick a winner, I would just pick Mick at the moment, but never rule out Rob Olenek.
Into Club Corner they go once again for the 13th time in this race. Rob Olenek not looking all too strong through this back half of the infield, you could say, of Spa-Francorchamps. Infield, most definitely, if you take in account the old layout of this track. As they now enter Blanchimont once again. Perfect run through that for both of them. Not making too many mistakes, minimizing the mistakes, always the motto for a race in Spa-Francorchamps. I really would like to see how many incident points both of them have right now, but quite honestly, I don't think it would be much more, or even more than 10 incidents.
Yeah, I'm just looking throughout the field as well to see if there's any battles going on, and I think we've still got. Just looking to see if the battle for P14 is still going on. No, it seems to have spread out a little bit, so that's settled down. So, yeah, I think the closest battle is still at the front between the P8. So, yeah, looking at P8 as well to see what's going on. The battle between Michael Cook and I believe the other driver is Antonio Rees.
Yeah, Michael Cook and Antonio Rees battling for that 8th place. Antonio Rees had a few issues the last few laps. He dropped way back behind Michael Cook, but he's able to regain all of that ground to come up behind him for that battle for 8th place. Antonio Rees, most definitely the faster driver, but right now also the much more mistake-prone driver than Michael Cook. Michael Cook, one of the many cars that have gained a few positions. He started in 11th place, right now in 8th. In himself a 3 position. As we're going to look at P9, that is Antonio Rees, who once again made a mistake through the run of Ride de Lyon, with now having Bill Tyler right behind him to challenge him for that second last place in the top 10.
And I believe this is the top 3 or top 2 in the F2 championship. So Antonio Rees is currently leading from Bill Tyler. So yeah, this is currently basically a battle for the F2 championship at the moment. So yeah, these guys are still close together, and it's what do you if I was Bill, rather, I'm not sure what I would do. Try and overtake Antonio, or just settle where I am. So yeah, it's still undecided, or still all to play for, as we've got one more lap to go in this race.
Yeah, as these two continue to battle, Mickey Cledge makes his way through La Source, which means that he is now going to enter the last lap of this motor race. Lap 15 of the 15-lap race here at Spa-Francorchamps. Now he has the white flag seen. So one more revolution for Mickey Cledge to make this his 3rd win. The only car to really challenge him in this race right now is the number 2 car of Olenek. There you can see him right behind him. Still is about 1.3 seconds, and Rob Olenek most definitely has lost about a tenth throughout the last 3 laps, as they have made successfully their way through Lecumbe for the 15th time.
Just looking at Mick as well, and it looks like Rob is not being able to close that gap back down, so all Mick has to do is just keep it on the track, just get it round, just not do anything silly, and he's got this win, hopefully not jinxing it, but he's got this win in the bag to take another win after winning at Le Mans last week.
Rob Olenek a little bit faster through Puhan. He was able to close in that gap by 2/10, but as you can see, still not much closer than he was before starting this lap. 1.2 seconds, still the gap is between your top 2 drivers here today, as they now make their way the last time through Curve Paul Ferrer, perfectly making so without taking any off tracks through this right-hander. Mick Klages is turn number 16 and now coming up. That is Blanchiment of this layout. Normally it would be turn number 17, now coming up under the Bridgestone side, going into the bus stop chicane for the very last time. The second last braking zone of this layout, and now Mick Klages making his way through the Grand Prix start-finish straight, which isn't his start-finishing straight. It is right after the Azures. Mick Klages, just one more acceleration zone he has to manage, and he is going to be your winner of round 4 of the Grand Prix Legends Series here at Spa-Francorchamps. Just ahead of Rob Olenek in second place. Third place will be taken by Roman Pascal. As we still have to battle for 6th place between Dave Price and Peter Meekes. Meekes trying to do a little bit of an undercut there on the corner. Doesn't really get the power down. So Dave Price going to take away 6th place unless he runs out of fuel, which he doesn't. So Dave Price 6th place. Peter Meekes 7th place goes to him. As it seems like... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm just keeping an eye on the rest of the top 10. Michael Coutts going to cross the line to finish P8. Antonio Rees is going to finish in P9. And rounding out the top 10 will be Bill Tyler in P10.
As it seems like we don't have any battles anymore in the last few cars that are going to trickle over the start-finish line. So with that, we're going to quickly send you to the break. But don't step away too far, as GSRC will be quickly back for the post-race show, where we will run you down the unofficial finishing order, talk to some of the drivers, and close off an eventful race. So don't step away too far, as GSRC will be back after these messages. welcome you all back to the Grand Prix Legends post-race show, streaming to your home on the Global SimRacing Channel via the iRacing eSports Network. First on the agenda of this post-race show, as always, is the unofficial finishing order, which is being topped by Mickey College yet again. Third race in a row, he has won Silverstone, Le Mans, now also Spa-Francorchamps. He has been atop the sheet. Rob Olenek, second place for him, a very great comeback after a miserable qualifying performance for him. Only a fifth place he started in. Roman Paslowski started third, finishes third, about 7 seconds behind your top two drivers. Michel Dudignon, most definitely the strongest dog, or looking like the strongest dog for most of the race, until once again those brake problems started to creep into his race, diminishing any chances he had at a win here today. He finishes only in fourth place. Daniel Sandro starting in fourth place, finishes in fourth place with his number 5 machine. Dave Price pretty much does the same. He started in 7th place with his number 6 machine. He finishes in 6th place. Peter Minkus tried to take away that 6th place for so long throughout this race, but he wasn't able to, so he only finishes in 7th place. Michael Cook gains 3 positions to finish inside the top 10. In 8th place, Antonio Rees, also one of the gainers in this race, but he only gained 1 position over Bill Tyler, so they finish 9th and 10th.
Finishing in P11 is Andrew Eng, P12 Mark Yeomans, Severin Osterveld finishing in P13, P14 was Andres Bruno, P15 was Osmir Schultz, P16 was Colin Coker, P17 was Colin Bentley, P18 Jim McGill, P19 Donald Peake, and rounding out the top 20 was Trent Buzzi.
Marco Ravioli, the first car, 1 lap down in 21st alongside Robert Reynolds and Jasmine Beach. Laurent Ravgon in 24th, 5 laps down. Julie Forcelin 25th, also 5 laps down. And then we have a lot of cars that didn't finish this race, led by Chris Bean, Chris Murakami, Jan Hoffman, Billy Bob Wright, Gary Anderson, Telmo Amorel, Adrian Duke, and Troy Adams. All didn't finish this motor race. Out of the 33 drivers, 20 did finish on the lead lap. Right now, it seems like these guys are still a little bit on a cooldown. So, Ryan, let's go a little bit ahead in the schedule. We have now seen 2 very fast tracks back to back with Le Mans and Spa. Next week, we're going once again at a very fast track, Monza, to mark 3 speed tracks in a row. How are we looking forward to that?
Well, I have to say I'm looking forward to it quite a lot. Monza rather, is one of my favourite tracks, and I think with it being a high-speed track as well, and the slipstream, it's going to make for some exciting racing.
Yeah, let's continue that question with Mick Klaj now joining us here. GSRC owns Mick Klaj, that is. Mick, we now have seen Le Mans and Spa, 2 very fast tracks, no doubt. And we're going to add to that list with Monza. How are we looking forward into that track, especially as a driver?
No, Stefan, you can't talk about Monza yet. I just won Spa, man. That's the that's the biggest win I've ever had on iRacing. Trust me.
Well, you were challenged quite a lot by Michel Dudignon throughout the first half of this race, until once again his brake problems creeped into his race to really diminish his chances of winning this. You also held off a very quick Rob Olenek, finishing a second ahead of him. Mick, why is this such a big win for you?
It's such a big win because I'm not very good at Spa, and I'll be honest with you, I'm just guessing now, I've probably done 500 laps this week to get up to speed and get the set right and everything about the whole thing. And I didn't get the setup right until late last night. And then this morning, we was on pace, it was half a tenth in it between me and Michelle. And then, I was lucky to get pole. I went up on the tyre pressures and I took a chance with that. Got a really good qualifying lap. Messed up the second one, but didn't matter. And then I knew I had a really good first gear against Michelle. That's why I got such a good start, and he got such a bad start. But I can't believe Rob's not been on pace this week, nor has Roman. So they haven't been on pace all week. I mean, when you saw qualifying, they was a second behind us. That was their pace. That's been their pace all week. 3/4 of a second, half a second off. And so when I saw Roman staying behind Michel, oh god, here we go. And then when Roman got in front, and then he had a slowdown over Eau Rouge, and then Rob was catching up. Oh god, I've got to really, really dig now for this. And honestly, because it was such a big win for me to beat Michel here. It is such a big thing. In all the years I've driven this car at this track, I think I've beaten him once at this place. And so to lose it to someone else other than Michel would have been really bad. And so that was probably the most nervous I've ever been in a race, to try and get the win. But anyway, yeah, sorry, Monza. Carry on.
Yeah, Mick, just a quick outlook. What can we expect from Monza? Probably the fastest combination that we're going to see this season.
Yeah, Monza's unbelievable. When I looked at the schedule a couple of days ago, I saw Spa, oh God, and then I saw Monza afterwards. And people don't like it and people like it, just because of the fact that you can't get away. The leaders cannot get a gap between anyone, because you just catch back up on the oval. It's insane. You're doing, if you catch the draft right, you're up near 220 miles an hour into Curva Grande, into the braking zone there. And it normally ends up on a last lap fight through Curva Grande. So yeah, it's worth a watch just to see the sheer speed that you can go round the oval in this car.
Well, Mick, congrats on your first place finish 3 times in a row now this season. Most definitely the strongest dog right now. Mick, thank you for talking to us. And yeah, let's hope we see you once again, at least on the podium in Monza.
Cheers, Stefan. Yeah, cheers, guys.
Now, before we go, we want to remind you once again that you're watching this on the iRacing Esports Network. Next up on the iRacing Esports Network, it's actually going to be, once again, GSRC. But this time, atop this hour, we are going to be live from Silverstone in the DGFX series. If you want to not miss the start of that broadcast, then subscribe now. You're gonna know that because the subscribe button just below this broadcast is going to be right for you. On top of that, we'd like to thank everyone on the track today for a great show, and especially the Lotus 49 community for contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. Right now on your screen, you can see all of the companies that provide us with their great hardware and software GSRC uses to deliver you the best possible show. Additional thanks goes to June Lalonde, who provides us with her great masterpieces. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, please visit us at Global SimRacing Channel.com. You can also find us on the social media platforms, Twitter with @GSR Channel, Facebook at facebook.com/Global SimRacing Channel, on Instagram at GSRC_brand. All of the upcoming races for our other series are now sliding across your screen, so check them out and mark them down in your calendar to not miss another second of exciting racing action. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, Ryan, Sean, and Dougie, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in as Mick Clutch took away the victory here in Belgium. With that said, until next time, Servus and sayonara, and as always, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you on the track.